So how about the implications of AI photography?
No. You. It's not AI photography. Welcome to the Photography Opinion Podcast. We discuss all things photo, video, and camera related. I'm Ben Lucas.
And I'm Stuart Marlantis.
And this is Photo Op.
So episode over, huh? That's it?
That's definitely
Enough said.
That's one way to start an episode. Well, you can definitely tell this is not for kids. I can check that little box on the YouTube channel.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so
Gotta target that audience.
Might get demonetized for the title and all that. But yeah, today we're talking about the
AI photography.
photography.
If you're not watching us on YouTube, that photography is firmly in finger quotes.
Oh my god, I'm gonna need to drink heavily after this. I hate this topic so much. It is not AI. Okay,
Poor Ben. I keep bringing up the AI stuff legitimately, and he's like, I don't want to talk about it. And
don't care.
He's like, fine, I'll talk about it again.
Fine. Let's go. Let's do a little bit of sensor blur here. Let's go. I hate AI photography. Okay, it's not that I hate AI, it's that I hate the fact that we keep calling it AI photography. It's not. Let's get pedantic. Let's get really pedantic and nitpicky here. It is not photography. That leads perfectly into our disclaimer. We are recording this on the 4th of July.
Yes, we are.
Let me go. I think that's my car.
Yeah, it is.
So yeah, quick disclaimer. We are recording on 4th of July. We don't live in a terrible neighborhood. Those are just fireworks. So there you go. Okay, what was I saying? Let's get pedantic. Let's get
Why
really
is it not photography?
Let's get really well actually on this, okay? Do I need a
Let's
neck
turn
beard?
this opinion into
Do I need
facts.
a neck beard and a fedora to be able to do this episode?
Well, actually.
Okay. So I saw a Facebook post recently. I'm so rattled because I hate this topic so much. Okay, so
I'm wringing the content out of Ben right now.
Can we
Give me content.
I'm not mad talking about AI, but I am mad about it calling it AI photography repeatedly. I saw a Facebook post recently being like, hey, what do you guys think about AI cosplay? What the F are you talking about? What? And so for those of you who don't know, cosplay, dressing up in costumes like Thor or, Star Wars or whatever.
Pop
right?
culture characters.
Cosplay, yeah. So I'm like, what the heck is AI cosplay? What are you talking about? And they're like, yeah, you like put your face into like Midjourney or something and then you have it dress you up like Samus or an anime character or something. I'm like, that's art. That's not cosplay. Cosplay is literally the act of you putting things on your body to embody whatever this character is. Cosplay is literally wearing the costume. There is no AI cosplay. It doesn't exist in just photos. If you didn't wear the costume, it didn't happen. Now, I'm not shaming cosplayers who like buy their costumes versus make their costumes, and I'm not shaming people who are like low effort versus like high effort.
But Ben, I want to invest absolutely no effort or money and still say that I'm a cosplayer.
No. No. There are only so many times I can swear and keep this PG. No, it is not cosplay if you didn't wear the costume the same way it is not photography if there was not a camera involved.
Well, some people would say that there was a camera involved, right?
There wasn't though.
Here's my question.
Oh,
here's a real question around this topic. Genuine question. So, as you may be aware,
baiting me. I just if he doesn't show up next week, I want the record to show he baited me into it. All right, continue.
It was my fault. So as you may be aware, because there's a lot of talk about ethics of how AI platforms work, and how they work basically is they ingest millions or billions of images, and they use that database to basically spit out something on the other side. When you say you want an apple, it has hundreds of thousands of images.
We've done a 2-part episode on this. Right? Go check that out too if you want to know about how that actually works.
But in short, that's basically how these work: is they ingest a bunch of images and they use a combination of interpreting those images to spit something out on the other side that you're requesting. Now, that is, you say that that's not photography, which is fine. Then what would you call a photo composite, which is many different images that are combined into an image that didn't originally exist?
Which
is that photography or not?
I do.
Yeah. That's why I'm asking you, because you do these.
I do these.
Would you call a photo composite photography or art?
Honestly, it could be a mix of both. So there's definitely something to be said. So a lot of my own composites, not only do I shoot the foreground, but I shoot the background, and I do almost little to none stock photography. I'm shooting every single piece that is being put into the stack. Now, part of that is incredibly limiting, especially for some of these kind of more fantasy surreal type things.
Yeah.
Versus my friend Anthony, his is Soul Studios. Go check him out. He's super cool. He uses Blender and like 3D rendering and stuff to make all of his backgrounds. So he shoots the cosplayer and then he makes this really cool fantasy background and puts them into it. I honestly would still...
So he uses Blender.
Yeah. So, but I still consider that photography. I think what it really comes down to is what is your subject and how is your subject created? So, for example, once upon a time, I had to shoot 76 bottles, 72 bottles, 76. It was a lot. A lot of bottles for a kombucha company. And the client was so just very particular and anal about how they wanted they have a very metallic looking, shiny, label, and they said, we want it to look shiny. We want the people to know that we have a shiny metallic label, but we don't want any reflections.
Okay,
but
you know how shininess works.
That is how people know it is. You can't have those two things at the same time. And I'm like, oh god, I hate this. So for that one, what I actually ended up doing was I actually used Blender to recreate the shape of they had 3 different bottles, I think. So I made 3 different bottles that matched their bottles. And then I had them send me the bottle without a label and a flat pack label that wasn't put on the bottle. So I shot the label flat with absolutely no reflections. And then I put it on top of the photo of my thing, but I used the texture map to wrap it on the bottle shape so that it would organically get all the curvature correct. And then I added another kind of reflection layer on top of that. And at least to me, that's like the most essentially AI thing that I've ever done. Like, that was pretty heavy.
Even in that case, there's sort of a ground truth of there's an actual photograph that makes up that texture.
Yes.
Like, it's not... I think that's the distinction that I was baiting you into making, was that yes, with AI platforms, they're using a database of photos to generate this imagery, but ultimately they're not copying and pasting pieces of that. Like, it is an algorithm that's mathematically determining what something should look like and generating it on the fly, in theory, uniquely on the fly, every time. Like, it's not, there's no photo there. It's not saying like, oh, I have 1,000 images of an apple and I'm going to pick this one to give you. It's actually generating something new, which is not a photo at all. It is algorithmically generated. It is essentially fancy CG. It's just a different way of generating it than like an artist actually knowing how to model or paint an apple.
So I'm gonna start pulling from other things on our ideas board here, and may or may not cannibalize those episodes. But so I have a friend who shot a photo, and then he changed literally everything about the photo. She was wearing sunglasses. He changed her sunglasses. He basically changed her entire outfit and pose from the neck down. He changed the background. He changed the lighting.
And a photo of Theseus.
Yeah. And it's like, is this the same photo? I'm like, literally all you did, bro, was create an AI image and copy paste her head onto a new thing of just like, and it doesn't even look good is the kicker.
That's too bad.
He's like, look what I can do. I'm like, it's not real. And I can tell, like, it's, dude, what are you doing? But the one that really has been grating me is like, so I know that IKEA uses a lot of computer it's not AI, but they use a lot of computer generation because, American markets see like dark woods as very luxurious versus European markets see kind of that like light bamboo, pine, birch as luxurious. So they can do this computer generated setup of a kitchen and with one click change out the cabinets. And now you've got the luxurious American market one and the luxurious European market one. And, so is it photography? They do some photography. Is it AI? No, it's not AI. An artist took their actual model and put that in. I'm kind of giving them a pass because like that's what it looks at.
It's CG.
It's CG, not AI.
Yeah.
But the issue that I'm having is I'm having these kind of things popping up in my feed where it's like, hey, just send us like a cell phone photo of like your brown leather jacket and we'll turn that brown leather jacket into a full marketing campaign on models through AI. I'm like, but it's not it's not going to interact right fabric wise. It's not going to fit wise of just like, it's not actually going to look on that model how it's going to look in real life. This is false advertising and this is grading me exactly the wrong way. And that is not AI. Like,
I feel like that's a dangerous road too.
It is.
Especially with a product like that. People are buying it like, if it's not in a store, if people are buying it online, that's all they have to go on. The photos of that product is all they have to go on to be like, I want this thing because of how it looks or how it fits that person or whatever. If they get it and it's not like that, that's straight false advertising. Like you run the risk of people saying the product that I received is not what was advertised.
There's a little bit of leeway. If you want to CG something, it is your responsibility to make sure that the CG most authentically resembles the product that the consumer is actually going to get. But yeah, AI has just been grading me exactly the wrong way.
Yeah. The scary thing that I've heard recently is AI photos used in journalism. Like you're not a journalist if you use AI photos. Period.
No, and in fact, there are even debates in journalism of like, is the clone tool acceptable? Is cropping acceptable?
Yeah, it should be like at minimal at best editing, and like only when absolutely necessary. But using AI to jazz up a story to make the photo more exciting or more interesting or whatever.
No.
How can you even call yourself a journalist? Like it's already hard enough to be a photojournalist as somebody who used to be one in college a little bit. But to use an AI photo, like you're supposed to be reporting on something that is real, that actually happened or is happening.
Not to get too incredibly political, but a certain past president who liked to brag about how big their crowds were, AI could very easily have filled the stadium in a photo. But that's not real. No. That's not what happened. And guess what? Their marketing team did do that.
Yeah.
And they did fake photos. They stole photos. They AI'd photos to make it look bigger than it was. And that is so wrong.
It's bad enough when journalists, when photojournalists like use to spin the story a specific way, like are careful about like how they crop in or the angles they use to like make something look a particular direction, like there's more or less people or whatever, and like just to even like that's bad enough just to give up and be like, let's just make it up. It's so crazy to me.
Photojournalists, like there's pretty much there is no such thing as unbiased. You can get very close to unbiased, but let's say you shoot in JPEG and change nothing, right? You can make something look war torn and hazy just by changing your white balance a little bit.
Yeah.
You can make it look cold and frigid and isolated by changing your white balance towards the blue a little bit. You can skew towards one side of a political story by widening your field of view and including more in that portrait. And you can skew towards the other side by omitting some of those details and narrowing in on one specific detail. So already through the tools at your disposal, you have a choice in how you're telling this story, and all of those choices can be crafted one way or another. But I think the difference is it's still true.
It's still reality.
Even if it's biased, it's still an actual thing that happened versus AI is some computer extreme
literally
brain,
did not happen.
literally just fabricating an alternate reality for us.
Yeah.
And like, I love that for, No Man's Sky planets and ultimate, exploration and fantasy realms. But no, that's not e-commerce. That's not the product I'm getting. That's not journalism. That's not the story as it happened.
Bleeding into reality is very weird and dangerous to me. Like, I don't want to say an AI photo defender, but I've been more of a person who's like, you know what? I don't hate it. Like, it empowers people with tools that they previously didn't have, and used in the right place at the right time, it can be genuinely a great tool. Like you said, like if you're trying to develop some sort of, I don't know, fantasy landscape as a backdrop for some character, for some cosplay or whatever.
I do not care at all.
You can't, like, there's certain stuff that you cannot replicate in reality. Like, that's why films have tons of artists and CG people to do those kind of things, because you can't do it in reality.
Absolutely.
So I'm like, you know what? AI has a place there. There's still some problems with it, but if you're genuinely trying to generate imagery that cannot exist in reality, okay, fair. That's a good use for it.
So for a cosplayer, I'm just making art.
Yeah.
So they're actually wearing the thing that they're wearing. I might be enhancing it with like lighting and fake LED, kind of like wherever there might be a light coming out of like a wrist gauntlet or something. Might be putting like a HUD over their face into like a desolate apocalyptic background. But like, that is art for the sake of art.
Yeah.
If you're actually trying to take someone's money or politically charge them or convince them of a story, if you're in journalism or commerce, I totally understand. I do use, it's not even AI, but it is kind of like fake. So I have all of these fake pictures of like living rooms and bedrooms and stuff, and I can put a photo into that, and I can type in 16 by 24, and it will scale the photo I put into that set to show me, hey, if you have a living room, here's how big that might look above your couch.
Yeah.
So I already kind of use some form of these like CG templates, because those are all spit out, and they're
and that's reference material. I mean,
exactly. So there are already some of these lines where like I'm already doing it, and it's fine. But where it really gets under my skin is when people are calling it photography and trying to pass it off as something that it's not.
If you're claiming to represent reality and you are generating it entirely with a computer, that's lying. That's just lying.
Yeah. And like this photo that my friend did where he changed so many things about it, essentially a photo of Theseus, it wasn't even the same. The girl's face was the only thing that was the same.
Yeah.
Everything from the neck down and background and everything else had changed. I'm like, okay, one, like, sure, it's fun, you can do that, but like, it doesn't even look good. Like, can we at least use that as some benchmark?
Like, remember when we were talking about this and I
know AI is increasing and getting better and blah 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 blah, but like,
remember when we were talking about this and the debate was, is AI art actually art? And now now it's like, is AI photography actually photography? Like, why are we moving in the direction of AI being a representation of reality? It is not.
Oh my gosh. Do you remember when computers and robots and machines were supposed to make our lives easier so that we could have better, more fulfilled lives, and production lines were supposed to make food surpluses so that people didn't go hungry and make our lives easier so we didn't have to spend all day in a cubicle? And now they're literally like, hey, why don't we replace all of the fun things that make us human, and so you can as a human go back to being a production line? Like, this is the worst timeline. I hate you that we're doing this right now as a topic.
I think we've answered the question, though. It's not photography.
It's not. You can fight me on that. Send me a DM. I'll give you my address. We'll duke it out. Let's go. No, I'm kidding. You're not getting my address. But no, it's like AI is doing some really interesting things. When I've said this before, but when Photoshop is coming out with all these new AI tools, I'm like, this is stupid. I hate it. Like, I can still do this more accurately and faster. Like, I'm not going to use that. And then the sky replacement tool came out, and I just kind of sat there staring at it for a minute and went, well, fuck. It did it cleaner and faster than I could, and
It's coming for us all.
Oh, I'm gonna use this all the time now, because that's another thing of like, I even tell my clients of like, hey, your wedding, it won't necessarily look the way that it actually looked through the camera. It will look the way that you felt and remember it looking. So if I shoot a dramatic sunset, but the sky was just like, we were shooting in summer and it was wildfires and there was just nothing fog, in a heartbeat, I will do a sky replacement and give you the beautiful sunset art for your wall. Like, no hesitation.
For sure.
And I will use the AI algorithm to do all my masking, because trying to mask all those wispy little tree branches is a pain. So yeah.
All right. You won one battle, AI.
And I will say there's that like expand the canvas and AI will fill it in. I use content
aware fill.
I use content aware, but no, now they're doing AI where you can tell it what should be on the outside and it will try and pull from its library.
Content aware fill is impressive, but the AI stuff is like really convincing, like way more convincing.
Content aware fill, I found some ways of kind of like tricking it into getting the shapes and textures that I want, but it's still kind of bad, and I always end up having to smooth it out a little bit. I haven't played with the AI part yet. Well, I don't like,
or maybe not.
I don't like upgrading software when I have client projects on my desk.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to break a piece of software and be like, sorry, I delayed your project. And I always have client projects on my desk, so I don't update very often. I will get to it. I will. I've only seen people online like, look what I did with this expanded. I'm like, okay, let's count the fingers and toes. This looks hella weird. Oh man, there are definitely times where like I shot a family portrait and they're like, great, I'd love an 8x10 of that. And I go, shoot, there are too many of you in frame. I do not have enough canvas to expand in. I might be using AI for some of those tools to give myself some extra
fill in
sky
kind
and
of blurry
backgrounds.
Plants, grass, sky.
And I might be using it for some of those purposes. But honestly, what is the subject? What is the core purpose of the photo? If it's just art, do whatever you want and make art. I don't care how it happens. Yep. But if you're trying to represent reality, it needs to represent reality. Yep. If you're trying to sell a product, it needs to authentically represent that product. If it's family photography, like, you need to, I don't know how you can AI a person. Like, I'm sure we'll get there eventually, but like a photo of that person is going to be more authentic than a 3D scan of that person put into AI. Like, just, it is. I don't know what else to say about this. Can we just stop calling it AI photography? It sucks and I hate it.
All right, I think you're done.
Hey, when we started this episode, we forgot to do today's listener question.
Yeah, due to our cold open.
Let's tack on the listener question here.
So due to our cold open, we didn't have the question at the beginning, so let's do it now. Jada asks, should a wedding photographer eat during the reception?
When should a wedding photographer eat during the reception? Same time everyone else eats. Because here's the deal. No one likes photos while they're stuffing their face full of food.
Yeah.
So that might be the time where you're shooting like ring details or something else that you didn't have time for earlier in the day. So you're definitely going to eat a lot faster than everyone else. If everyone else has an hour, you've got 20 minutes. You might be shooting like table shots. So try and stay one table ahead of the DJ as they're dismissing people. So that you can get the table shot before everyone has stuffed their face full of food. But honestly, just eat when everyone else eats, because nothing else is happening. There might be like toasts during that, or some kind of like dance or game with the couple. But
I mean, you might have a hand on your camera for a toast here and there, but you would already have talked through like what's the schedule, so
if there's an hour of eating, like I said, you might have 15 or 20 minutes, but you just eat when the couple eats.
Yep.
That's simple, easy.
Eat with everybody else.
De-stress out of this episode. I'm done. I just can't with this. Take us out. What do the people need to know?
Well, as we ask all the time, give us all those fun algorithmic things. Share your questions, especially on YouTube. We see
Feed the
those.
robots.
Yeah, feed the robots. Make our content more prominent with the robots. That would be great. Send us your questions so that we can answer your questions, just like we did with Jada. And if you'd like to throw us a little bit of coin to help keep the lights on and the mics running, we've got a little tip jar at patreon.com/nomcreative. Just $1 a month, and you can help us out. And now for the outro.
If you have questions or ideas for future episodes, you can email us at hello@photo-op.show.
Watch us on Ben's YouTube channel at nomcreative.
As in Om Nom Nom.
Share this with a friend, and you can listen to Photo Op anywhere podcasts are sold.
Or download it. 'Cause it's free.